That's all for today's discussion on sensation and perception. See you in our next meeting. Class dismissed.
Ano tong gin-discuss naman kagina sa major tamar? Mabalaw kasi hindi ka to.
Ay, ang buto naman ko kay gets.
Hala, nag-discuss. Sila kuya ka ba? Yung kuya ko ba man pagdakay, wanong kabalo.
Ay, iyam na lang ang gets ko.
Mapay.
Bulaga! Ito kadalog sa inyong ginapanumdog. Anong problema?
Wala big kami kagets kagina katapik namon nga perception and sensation sa major girl.
Oo, medyo conflict siya. Ang nag-worry kami kidalaga ato sa coverage sa exam.
Galit. May nabalaan ko. For sure makabulig din niya sa inyo. Kag wala nyo rin experience before sa inyo kabuhi. Something magical. Naupod ka mo?
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. I think I've covered what you see. Curious to explore the magical perception and sensation? Future psychologist, am I right? Unveil the magical perception and sensation. Discover how the mind reads its wonders. Enjoy. Let's take a look. Sensation, your five senses: touch, taste, smell, hearing, and sight. Sensation brings information from outside the body into the brain. Let's use the ear as an example. Your sensory organs, the ears, collect data via your sensory receptors inside the ear. They then send neural impulses into the brain. This is where your perception takes over. You just heard a dog bark, a woman scream, and the phone ring. Your perception sorts interference from relative information. It's what controls your decisions and actions. What's important? Your perception selects, organizes, interprets, and prioritizes information. The girls at the beach are telling me to show them my surfing moves, but my perception is telling me these shark-infested waters are dangerous. No way. Your perception is also based on past experience. Culture. And biological makeup. The terms sensation and perception are used interchangeably, but now we can see there is a definitive difference. Sensation is a passive process. Perception is an active process.
Did you know ang brain tag contributes into seeing things that are not there? Yes, this called visual illusion. Our brains sometimes fill in gaps or confusing information, which is why we see things sometimes that isn't actually real, like a mirage.
Basic sensory processes. Our senses: sight, sound, touch, taste, and smell help us to understand the world.
Our sensory are incredible tools on where we could detect and respond to the world around us, from adapting to constant stimuli to converting raw data into something meaningful. Ang SenStar are always working to keep us connected and aware.
Principles of perception. Perception helps the brain interpret sensory information.
Gee, that candle sure is bright. I wonder how far I can go and still see it. Let's find out. Do 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 do. I can still see the candle. Aw, shucks. I can't see the candle anymore. I guess 30 miles would be the absolute threshold, since I can't see the candle if I go any further than that.
Hello. Today I'm going to talk about signal detection theory. What is signal detection theory? Signal detection theory pertains to the testing and modification of thresholds. As a fundamental constituent of experimental psychology or psychophysics, it has been implemented for several decades. Signal detection theory alludes that when we are detecting a stimulus or the signal, it is always being detected within noise. This implies that even when we are not searching for an obvious or apparent stimuli, we are always in the presence of our internal noise. Neurons fire regardless of intentional movement. How is it applied? Let's think about it in a realistic setting. You are in a busy cafe. There's the hustle and bustle of other people as they order beverages, food, or socialize. This serves as noise. You're seated at a table waiting for your order, in this case, your name to be called. This is the signal. Uncertain of whether your name may be called, you need to determine whether it is your name, one similar to yours, or just noise. We set what is called a criterion, which serves as a threshold for response. When there is a response that surpasses the criterion, we will treat the response as a signal and react accordingly. However, if a response falls below the criterion, it will be dismissed.
Perception is not just about what we sense, but also how we interpret it. Our mind, experiences, and environment work together to help us create a personal understanding of the world around us.
Vision.
Your eyes allow you to see the world around you. But have you ever wondered how they work? First, it's important to know that vision depends on your brain as much as on your eyes. Your eye's main job is to detect patterns of light. Then, they work with your brain to turn those patterns into images. Let's take a closer look. Light rays bounce off an object you are looking at. Let's say the object is a dog. The light reflects off the dog to your eye. Then, the light enters through the outer part of your eye, called the cornea. The cornea is clear like a window. It helps your eye focus the light to make things look sharp and clear. Next, the light rays pass through an opening called the pupil. The pupil is the dark round circle in the colored part of your eye. The colored part is called the iris. It controls how wide the pupil is and how much light can pass into your eye. In bright light, the iris narrows the pupil, reducing the amount of light that enters the eye. In dim light, the iris widens the pupil to let in more light. All of this happens automatically. Behind the iris is the lens of the eye. It helps focus the light coming into your eye so you can see things clearly. The lens flattens so you can see things that are far away, and bends so you can see things up close. When the lens, cornea, and pupil are all working together properly, they will focus light on the back of the eye. That's important because lining the back of the eye is the retina. There are about 130 million tiny cells in the retina that are sensitive to light. When these cells detect light, they turn it into electrical signals. Those signals eventually make their way through the optic nerve, which is like a cable connecting the retina to the brain. The retina helps create a rough image, but it sees the world upside down. It's your brain that turns what you see right side up. Also, when you look at an object, each eye gets a slightly different view of the world. The brain combines those views and makes them into one picture. The brain also adds a lot of details to your vision, so that you can see complex shapes, movement, depth, and a rainbow of colors. And of course, the brain connects your sense of sight to things you already know, so that when you see a dog, you recognize it as a dog, and not a cat, or a monkey. And that's how you're able to see.
Light enters the eye in waves through the cornea, passes through the pupil, which controls light entry, and is focused with the lights onto the retina. In the retina, photoreceptor cells, rods and cones absorb the light and convert it into electrical signals. These signals travel via the optic nerve to the brain, where they are interpreted as images.
Three types of neurons in the visual cortex.
So the first of the cells we'll talk about in the visual cortex are simple cells. These are side-by-side excitatory and inhibitory receptive fields. So you can see, for example, if we present a light in this area, we're going to get maximal stimulation. Now if we present it this direction, we'll get some more stimulation than inhibition, but if we present something horizontally, we're going to get as much excitation as we do inhibition, so we won't get any response. Now, one of the things I mentioned is that this type of simple cell receptive field is due to center surround antagonism. And essentially what has happened is we get input from multiple center surround antagonism cells, such that we get when we get these overlapping receptive fields, we actually create this kind of bar shape that this simple cell will respond to. These have varying orientations based on their inputs. So these cells respond best, or least, to a bar of a light in a specific orientation. So these are bars of light in specific orientations. And this is how we start to extract visual features and recognize items in our environment is through this particular process. So we can see we get neurons that respond particularly to stimuli in particular orientations. Now, these cells again respond best or least to a bar of light in a specific orientation, and this results in what we call an orientation tuning curve, whereby in this particular case this would be a vertical simple cell, so it responds best at this perfect vertical, and the further we get away from that, the less the cell responds until eventually we get to the point where the cell doesn't respond at all. So it will respond if it's a little bit off, but it won't respond as vigorously unless the stimulus is directly in the receptive field in the orientation of this particular simple cell. Complex cells also respond best to correctly oriented bars of light, but they respond particularly to moving stimuli across the cell's receptive field. And in general, they tend to respond best to stimuli moving in a particular direction. So here we have this bar of light. The cell is responding a bit. When this light moves in this direction towards the left, we get maximals responding to this particular stimulus. When the stimulus is moving to the right, we get no responding at all. And so this particular kind of complex cell is designed to help us, our visual system, respond to movement. So as stimuli are moving across our visual field, we have cells that respond in particular to cells in a particular direction. So we get maximal responding to features in a particular orientation and in moving in a particular direction. So the simple cells respond just to a stimulus sitting there. Complex cells respond best to stimuli that are moving. End-stop cells respond best to moving lines of specific lengths, into corners and edges. And these are sometimes referred to as edge detectors. And this helps us determine where a stimulus starts and stops. So these respond best if they don't have an entire visual field covered like we saw in the simple cells, rather where a stimulus ends within their visual field. So part of it's excited by elimination in one field and no elimination or less elimination in the other part of the field. So this helps us to determine precisely where things start, stops, where they have corners, where they have edges, that sort of thing.
Perceiving visual stimuli involves processing color, motion, and dip through coordinated mechanism in the eyes and brain. Ang process nga ini ga-transform sa nga light into meaningful perception, which is ga-allow sa atin to navigate and understand the world around us.
Ang physics of sound and the sensation of touch highlight the intricate system through which ginaprocess ang brain ta ang sensory input. Halin sa sound waves to neural signals, and from the tactile sensation to perception, this system ga-allow sa aton to experience and interact with the world in remarkable ways.
Pain. Pain is a multifaceted experience shaped by emotional, physical, and neural factors. From the body's nociceptor to the brain's interpretation, pain is a dynamic process that influences or is influenced by a reaction and coping mechanism. Understanding pain helps us to appreciate on how the body manages the vital signals for our survival.
The sense of smell is a complex process that starts with the detection of other molecules by olfactory sensory neurons and continues through the olfactory bulb to the brain's cortex. Ang pathway nga ini ga-allow sa aton para ma-identify ang response to smells, often linking them to emotions and memories. ang olfaction plays a significant role sa kung paano tayo perceive kung makipag-interact with the world around us.
In short, sensation is how our senses pick up signals from the world, like sights, sounds, and touches. Perception is how our brain turns those signals into meaning, helping us understand and connect with our surroundings. Together, they let us explore, decide, and feel. By decoding signals from systems like vision, hearing, and touches, they create a clear and seamless picture of reality, allowing us to interact with the world in amazing ways.
I hope that as you journey to the fascinating world of sensation and perception, you begin to uncover the magic behind how we experience and understand the world around us. It's a wondrous dance between our senses and our mind, transforming the ordinary into something extraordinary.
Isang ba ito sa iyo naman yung andito mo? Wala lang kung nag-control, learners ka pa mo.
Oo, wala akong kita sa learning. Sabot, wala na ako ng lesson, di ba? Kaya na-perfect na naging learning sa akin.
Good day, class. In our last lesson, we discussed sensation and perception. As a quick recap, who can explain?